And I just love it when people who are willing to fight for what's right, to stand up even though there may be consequences, to do something when everyone else is ignoring it or running away. But the question is that we need to ask ourselves is, why should we stand up for what's right? I am obviously a huge Star Wars fan, but in the movie Solo, Han Solo is captured and thrown into a pit where he actually saves Chewbacca's life. Chewbacca then actually pays him back by saying that he has a life debt, meaning he will do anything for him and will follow him around for the rest of his life because of what Han did for him. Romans 5:8 talks about God demonstrates his own love for us in this, that while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. He did this for us when we didn't even deserve it or couldn't earn it. God asks us to do what is right and do the right thing for those around us because of what Christ has done for us. Chewie was willing to go to the ends of the galaxy for Han because of what he did, maybe even die for him. There have been so many times when I haven't been able to stand. So the question I ask you is, when are some of those times that you find it hardest to do what's right? To cave under the pressure, maybe watch things you shouldn't have, lose your temper, ignore someone who is hurting because it just made you uncomfortable. When have you joined in on talking badly about someone who wasn't even there? Or any of the other ways that you can think of that are countless right now. I know I often feel like Paul in the New Testament when he says, I know what I ought to do, but I don't do it. What do you do in those times? What do we do when we don't have the strength to do what is right? When the pressure is just too much, or we have too much to lose in our own minds? There's two things that I want to hit on in those situations. First one is have a plan. What I mean by having a plan is know what you're going to do in certain situations before they come up. Instead of just coming up with it in the middle of nowhere, have an idea of what you will actually do in response to when you feel pressure and when it might be the wrong thing to do. For instance, you can't plan for every situation. I understand that, but I'll give you an example. I'm on a diet, all right? I don't need to be on a diet, I know, but I'm on a diet. Let's just say, pretend I'm on a diet, and I know I'm going to a little kid's birthday party this weekend. And there's going to be tons of food, tons of goodies, plenty of sugar. I know it'll be there. So instead of me just showing up and saying I'll just deal with whatever, I actually take 2 packs of gum with me, because if I have gum in my mouth, I know that I won't be munching or eating or snacking or things like that. I still might have a piece of cake or a scoop of ice cream, but I won't be just constantly eating because I know I have the gum with me. So I was prepared. I knew what I was going into and prepared to do before I went there. Maybe there's a time when you just decide, I know what I need to do, but you're not sure when that time will be. So for instance, say like I struggle with bad language. And I decide, you know what? I'm not going to watch certain movies or shows with bad language. And you do a really good job. And all of a sudden it gets to be late, it's quarantine, and all of a sudden mom has the bed, dad has the bed, all your brothers and sisters head to bed, and all of a sudden you're the only one downstairs in the basement watching TV. And it's probably midnight. So you have to decide, what should I do? And because you have already decided that you weren't going to watch certain movies or shows with bad language, you actually decide to shut off the TV and assume, because at this time of night, most of the stuff on TV probably isn't the best to be watching at this time. So you shut off the TV. You made a decision before it happened, which makes the decision much easier to do. Now, it doesn't always happen that way, but what happens when we aren't ready for something, or we're not able to stand up when we should? Well, there's plenty of examples when David's mighty men, Shema included, faced incredible odds alone and stood their ground. But the Bible calls them mighty men for a reason. Mighty men, not mighty man. Shema wasn't the only one, or any of those other ones that were impossible to repeat their names. They didn't stand alone all the time. They didn't have to do it all the time. God doesn't want us to do it all alone all the time, nor does he expect us to do it alone all the time. Ecclesiastes 4 talks about, he says, a person standing alone can be attacked and defeated, but 2 standing back to back can conquer. 3 are even better, for a triple braided cord is not easily broken. I don't know how many of you have seen the movie Jumanji, but The Rock, who plays Dr. Bravestone, is obviously a stud, and he has almost zero weaknesses. But there were times when he was lost, and he was weak, and he got frustrated or lost his temper, or he was scared, and he needed others to help him. He needed the help of those people who were around him who maybe weren't as strong or weren't as fast. But standing up for what's right, even when someone else falls, is a very brave thing to do and takes a ton of courage. Sometimes we don't have that courage or are too hurt or discouraged to stand. We need to rely on those around us to stand with us. I pray that you can stand for those things that you know are right, for courage and a will that you didn't know you had, that can only come from knowing and walking closely with Jesus Christ. Then we can be that mighty warrior that Joey talked about wanting to be. And we can say, I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race. I have remained faithful. Thanks, everybody. I'm so excited that you got to join us for Cross Connect, and now that you clicked on Digging Deeper. We hope to continue to give you more content like this that you can think about more about your faith and see how it actually applies to your life on an everyday basis. Hope you guys have a great week. Have a good day. Bye.